complete, we will turn to the remaining 11% Russian resident shareholders and see which are the ways that we could employ to unlock them as well.
Thank you. And a follow-on question from that, really, are your plans to stay on the LSE long term? And if the 11% of shareholders on the NSD are stuck, are you considering leaving MOEX and moving to a different exchange? And something, obviously, we touched on that first question, I think, as well.
I think maintaining the London listing is one of the primary priorities of the corporate management and the board of Polymetal at the moment. So we are very much committed to maintaining the listing. We are doing everything that we can in terms of maintaining the corporate governance, the free float, and so on. And I can say likewise, we would very much want the Moscow listing to stay. But again, as the situation evolves, this should be sustainable. Again, we mentioned this briefly on the call 2 weeks ago, that overall the working capital levels for the company have increased due to the current geopolitical situation. But we believe that working capital accumulation has been substantially over, and we are drawing down the excess working capital. And with this, we should be going back into our normal free cash flow positive mode.
Thank you. If you
should approach your broker with whom you bought the ADRs and actually request conversion not to certificated shares, but back to primary shares traded on LSE. So this is the option that is advised to all holders of ADRs. And then you will have other options available. But first step is actually go from ADR to just plain shares.
Fantastic, thank you. I've got a question here, Shagaresh, thank you very much for that. What is your biggest challenge?
Well, the biggest challenge here is obviously, the dealing with the impacts of sanctions and counter sanctions, which tend to be, unpredictable. Likely, in case of reconciliation, first we will need to complete this step, which is in and of itself quite complex, and in the meantime evaluate all of the available options. They will include the separation of the assets, but it is also an option that the assets will not be separated. A lot of factors will play into that decision, and in the current fluid environment, it's very difficult to predict.
Thank you. Question from Joe here. How does the swap of shares on the NSD for paper shares help Polymetal shareholders with dividends?
Well, currently, the non-resident shareholders holding their shares through NSD are deprived of their traditional rights as a shareholder. They cannot vote with their shares because Euroclear has blocked NSD from. Well, I can tell you the rough estimate of net debt. As I said, we are expecting a reduction of around 500 mil compared to the level of 1st of July. Something which should have been done even at the cost of increasing net debt in relation to